My beloved child, pause in this very moment. For I, the judge of all ages, am opening a record that does not belong to the earth but to heaven. You are hearing me not with your ears, but with a soul that has been torn, shaken, and bruised by injustices no one else ever saw. I draw you near to witness what the angels have been standing in formation waiting for. The hour of my judgment is not aimed only at those who wounded you, but at the truth that has been buried through all the years you stayed silent. You believed your pain had fallen to the ground like ashes, yet I gathered every fragment, every breath, every tear, and stored them in the archives of my kingdom. Not a single scheme formed against you disappeared into the air. It was recorded in my files with accuracy down to the smallest mark. And now I open that record, not to recount your sorrow, but to acknowledge you, to restore your honor, and to usher those who harmed you into a process of reformation under the light of my grace. Stand still in the reverence of this moment, for the record is open not for revenge, but to return justice to its rightful place. My child, before my throne, every lying voice that once accused you becomes dust. The words spoken about you in darkness, the stories twisted to diminish you, the opportunities quietly stolen from you, I saw it all. I did not merely see them, I marked them, not to release wrath upon the wrongdoer, but to stop the power of falsehood and open a path back for their souls. You have asked me many times, why did they do that? You did not know that there are wounds within them that drive them to act like the blind, stepping on others just to keep themselves standing. But their blindness does not excuse their actions. And I, the righteous judge, will place them into a process of correction so they may confront themselves and learn to become different. You were never abandoned in the chaos of injustice. You were being led to the hour of recognition. This is the hour in which I pull back the curtain so you may see the truth about yourself, not the false identity they tried to place upon you. You walked through long seasons when my silence made you think I was ignoring you. But what you did not understand is that my silence was the time I allowed the record to mature, for the truth to reach fullness, for heaven's evidence to gather into a charge that cannot be denied. I do not judge swiftly like humans do. I allow the nature of every matter to unfold before I release my verdict. You cried on your bed asking, why must I endure this if I did no wrong? And I answered through a long path, not through words. I let you walk until your purity became a testimony stronger than any defense you could give. I let you pass through trials where others believed you were weak. But I knew you were being shaped into a living witness of my righteousness. Not everyone can endure the road you have walked, and that is why your case carries extraordinary weight in heaven. Know this in the archives of heaven's justice. No record exists that notes the wrongs of others without also honoring your faithfulness. I recorded your strength when you refused to retaliate. I recorded your silence when you could have spoken to defend yourself but chose to place the matter into my hands. I recorded the gentleness of your heart through the years of being misunderstood. I recorded the moments when you wanted to give up but still held on to faith. Every small action, every hidden choice you made, is a line of light within the record I am now opening before heaven. And it is these lines of light that cause me to stand on your behalf. You do not need to fight, for I have taken the place of the one who fights for you. You do not need to validate yourself, for I, the judge, am about to announce your name. Listen deeply. Heaven's recognition is not a reward for the perfect, it is confirmation for the faithful. You are not pure because you made no mistakes. You are affirmed because you never betrayed the light within you even when others betrayed you. And now I am preparing to place upon your name a new seal, not the seal of a survivor but the seal of one who has overcome. For what you endured was not merely pain, it was a process of certification. These chapters are what qualify you as a witness to my justice. Anyone who looks at you in the days to come will no longer see a wounded person, they will see someone validated by my hand. But my child, the record is opened not only to honor you, it is opened to begin the correction of those who caused harm. Not because I am angry, but because I love justice too deeply to let any soul remain in darkness forever. I do not allow evil to destroy the path of your destiny, but I also do not abandon the souls of the wrongdoers to the pit of their own actions. When I judge, I do not only restore the wounded, I remake the one who inflicted the wound. For there is no person in this world whose redeemable part I cannot see. Stand firm in this truth. I am not using you as a weapon against them. I am using you as evidence that grace can heal any soul that once slipped into darkness. You are being acknowledged so they may be corrected. You are being lifted so they may be illuminated. You are being certified so they may be transformed. My child, look closely. The path they are about to walk is not the same as yours. You entered the process with a pure heart. They entered with shadows clinging to them. You walked through trials to be affirmed. They will walk through trials to have their foundations rebuilt. You are being lifted up. They are being led into refinement. You are being declared. They are being confronted. Yet behind every difference, there is still my hand, the one who loves both justice and the human soul. I do not discipline to destroy. I discipline to heal. I do not judge to condemn. I judge to free a soul from the weight of its wrongdoing. And you, the one who endured hurt in silence, will become the witness of how I recreate a soul that once acted wrongly. Take a deep breath before me. What is opening now is not a warning, it is a courtroom of truth. And in this courtroom, you do not stand in the place of the accused, you stand in the place of the witness. I have seen all things. I have prepared all things. And now I am rewriting a new chapter of justice using your very name. My child, when I open their record, I do not open it with anger but with light. Light does not shout, light simply appears. And darkness has no choice but to expose itself. When I place each page before my throne, truth does not scream like the gavel of human courts. It simply stands there, bright enough that no one can turn away. I do not expose their wrongs to tear them down, but to peel away the layers they built to hide their fears, their wounds, and the empty places they never dared to confront. What they did to you was not merely wrongdoing, it was a symptom of a soul that had been imbalanced for a long time. But remember, these symptoms must be revealed so that the roots can be healed. I bring their sins into the light not to declare a death sentence, but to open the door to resurrection. Listen carefully, truth never harms those who desire healing. It only hurts those who are trying to protect their own wounds. Those who harmed you have lived too long inside a cloak sewn from the fear of being exposed. Every word they spoke against you, every action meant to push you down, was their desperate attempt to hide the darkness they were terrified to face. You became the mirror that accidentally reflected their unhealed places, and when they saw themselves in that mirror, instead of mending their wounds, they tried to shatter the mirror. But I did not allow that mirror to break. I preserved you so that on this day, you would stand as evidence that light is stronger than the hurt they caused. When I expose wrongdoing, I expose it to end the cycle of destruction they themselves did not know how to escape. You must understand that when I correct, I do not do it with a heavy hand. I act like a healer, removing an old bandage from an infected wound gently but decisively, knowing it must be uncovered for the skin to truly heal. There are truths they do not want to hear, mistakes they do not want to face, but those very things have been harming them from within. When I show them the consequences of what they did to you, it is not to crush them but to make them stop. No one stops while still in darkness. Only when light appears does a person become clear-eyed enough to change direction. Therefore, my judgment is not destruction, it is reconstruction of a foundation that is tilted for too long. I do not see them as hopeless. I see them as wandering souls who have lost their compass. and I correct them so they may find their true direction again. Imagine this image. My child, a grapevine afflicted with disease, is not immediately cut down by me. I prune the decayed branches, remove the rotted parts, bind the stem again, and then nurture it until it blooms. Those who hurt you are like that grapevine, not entirely spoiled, but with parts overtaken by darkness. I will cut, I will correct, I will peel away the layers of disguise, the lies spoken, the intentions that went astray. But I cut to save, not to destroy. A branch that is pruned feels pain, but if it is not pruned, it will die quietly. I want them to live, not live continuing in error, but live in the light they have long resisted. What I do now is to show them that grace never collaborates with wrongdoing. Yet grace also never abandons the lost. You will witness how I judge, and you will see this truth. I do not take sides based on sentiment. I take the side of truth. Therefore, when I expose what they did, I will also expose the fear and frailty that drove them to do it. I do not paint over their sins, but I look through them to find the part of their humanity that can still be saved. They hurt you, that is truth. They chose harm instead of self-confrontation, that is also truth. But here is another truth you must know. I have never counted them as those beyond redemption. Even when they build walls against the light, I still see the small opening through which I can enter. And now, as I open their file, I will lead them down a path which, if they choose to walk, will restore them not in the way humans imagine, but in the way only light can accomplish. Remember the nights you asked me, why do they not face consequences? I stayed silent, not because I did not see your pain, but because I knew that early consequences do not equal salvation. A person who falls into a pit may be injured, but if they do not understand why they fell, they will fall into another pit again. So instead of allowing immediate disaster, I led them into a season of exposure. They will face the words they once spoke, the actions they once committed, the decisions they once hid, not so that I may accuse them, but so they may recognize their own truth. For only when recognition comes from within does transformation become real. I do not want them destroyed, I want them awakened. Stand aside and watch me work. You do not need to fix them. I am the one who restores. You do not need to make them understand what you endured. I myself will cause them to see. I do not touch them with wrath, I touch them with truth and mercy. Like sunlight melting a thick block of ice, it does not shatter, it softens. And as it softens, what has been buried beneath begins to surface. That is what I am doing with them, not destroying, but melting, not demanding repayment through pain, but calling forth real transformation within their own hearts. You will see on the day I complete this work, they will not be who they once were. Some will come to apologize, not to reclaim anything, but because they finally see themselves. Some will remain silent, yet their hearts will be touched enough to never repeat the harm they caused. Some will seek the light on a path you may never witness, but all must pass through my light. For when I open a record, no one walks away unchanged. And you, the one who endured in silence, will witness something few souls ever behold: justice wrapped in mercy, nothing lacking in righteousness, and nothing lacking in grace. This is how I judge. This is how the kingdom operates. And this is why your record is being opened today. Under a holy light no darkness can conceal. In the moment the record is sealed again by the imprint of light. I step near to wipe away what still clings to the spirit of one who endured so faithfully. The pain once buried deep in the layers of old seasons is being lifted gently, like a father brushing dust from the hair of his beloved child after a long journey, not to bring back the hurt, but to ensure that when you step into the new season, no residue remains to speak louder than your own voice. I touch the places where you once trembled, not with the fire of judgment, but with the warm breath of restoration. The light from my throne protects, but it also recreates every part of the soul that has been compressed for too long. And as that light pours through, everything that does not belong to your destiny dissolves like mist before the morning sun. The very things that once pushed you into your lowest places are now becoming the reason I lift you to the highest. What was buried beneath the words of others is now becoming the foundational stone upon which I lay new glory. Not a single backward step of yours has been wasted before me. Each one has been an invisible staircase raising your spirit into higher ground. When I vindicate, I do not merely clear the remnants of darkness, I clothe you in a new garment, like the radiant attire placed upon the daughter of Zion in ancient prophecy. And just as fragrant oil was poured in Esther's day of restoration, so I am pouring over you the fragrance of a season unlike anything you've known, a season where honor is no longer defined by what others say about you, but by what I affirmed long before you knew how to call me Father. When I lift you, I do not do it with the noise of the world, I lift you with the silence of glory. That silence is the sign of one who has passed through judgment and emerged without stain, not because you never fell, but because you let me wash your feet, your heart, and even the corners you once feared to face. The time is coming when those who once saw you through an old lens will no longer recognize you. For the light I place upon your brow will make every old assessment obsolete. No one can diminish what I have elevated. No one can deny what I have decreed. No one can hinder the new season I am leading you into. Picture dawn rising after a long night. The light does not argue with darkness. It simply arrives. And everything changes. My vindication over you is the same. It requires no defense, no force, no battle cry. Only my word. And the very ground beneath you shifts. The truth I hold in my hand is like the sun when it rises. All must brighten. No one can block the morning. What has reached its appointed time will not delay because someone wishes otherwise. The old seasons that once weighed upon you like stone will become light as air, because I have breathed new meaning into them. I do not erase memory. I redeem it under my light. There are parts of you once mistaken for weakness that will now become marks of strength. Tears once shed in secret are being gathered as sacred oil upon your forehead. The things you endured that made you feel small are now the very reasons I place royal authority upon your shoulders. For you walked through darkness without losing your purity. Your steps from now on will not be those of the wounded. They will be steps of one restored by a Father who never took his eyes off you. I do not heal only the surface, I heal the foundation. I do not only heal emotions, I heal the way you understand yourself. A new season does not begin when circumstances change. It begins when my light touches the deepest part of your soul, like a seedling breaking through the soil after the first rain. The life within you is rising toward a light it once feared to receive. I see strength growing where weakness lived. I see new vision where fog once lingered. I see peace forming where chaos once echoed. And I see you standing, not trembling anymore, but standing as one who knows they belong to the light long before they understood what light meant. Soon, you will look back at the things that once shattered your heart, and you will understand I did not allow them to break you, to end you, but to open you. The breaking gave me an entry point. And when I enter, I do not bring thunder, I bring breath, breath that revives what seemed dead. And from that breath, you will realize you were not merely healed, you were reborn. Not reborn into a prettier version of the past, but into an entirely new manuscript, written by my hand, untouched by the fingerprints of those who once wounded you. In this moment, my grace is like water, soft yet strong, slipping into the final cracks. No force needed, no striving. Like morning light entering through a window. It fills everything gently, lovingly, patiently. And when that grace settles, I will call your name in a new way, not the name of one who endured, but the name of one chosen to enter glory, a season where my justice is your foundation, my healing your atmosphere, and my hand your path. From this moment on, the things that once weighed down your heart will begin to fall away like autumn leaves, not because you push them away, but because they no longer belong to where I am taking you. The light of glory stretched before you is an invitation to step deeper into your true identity, an identity not shaped by what others did, but by what I declared from eternity. And like a tree planted by streams of water, new fruit will appear on your branches, not by your striving, but because I am nurturing you with the tender hand of a father who has never removed his gaze from the child he loves. The light I am pouring over your life is not only touching your soul, it is also slipping into the most ordinary corners of your days, those places where you once thought I did not care. I see the mornings when you wake up with eyes still heavy from a night full of thoughts. I see your tired steps each time you have to face the same faces that once misunderstood you. I see the way you force a smile even while carrying a quiet, lingering wound inside. I see the moment you pour yourself a glass of water and stand still for a few seconds because your mind suddenly returns to an old memory you thought you had forgotten. I see how you keep working, keep trying, even though the words spoken to you still feel like thorns buried deep in your heart. I see the evenings when you sit by the window, looking at the lights on the street and whispering inside, "When will my life finally be fixed?" Just once. In the right way. Every one of those moments rests in the palm of my hand, and it is from those ordinary, fragile places that I am breathing a soft yet enduring healing into you. What you do not realize is that in every small action, I see great evidence of faithfulness. When you fold the blanket, even though no one will praise you. When you set the table, even though your heart is not at peace. When you still help others while no one seems to be helping you. When you sit down at your desk and quietly say in your heart, "Today I have to try a little harder." I am already there in that very instant. Heaven does not wait until you do something grand to take notice. Heaven records even the smallest things that your heart pours out in silence. You think I only see the miracles? No. I see the way you wash the dishes in cold water while your hands are trembling with exhaustion. I see the way you wrap your own arms around yourself at night because there is no one else to hold you. I see the way you fight not to collapse under hurtful words. And I say, this one deserves to be lifted up. Not because they are strong, but because they did not let their weakness destroy who they truly are. The vindication I am releasing over you does not always arrive like rolling thunder. It comes like the warm breath you feel tonight as you sit in your small room thinking no one understands your life. I understand. I perceive. I know. I have witnessed every second you chose to live in honesty, even when that honesty caused you to be misunderstood. I know there are days when you barely step outside and are already met with words as cold as iron and glances that make your heart feel as heavy as stone. I see the way you swallow your hurt so things can move on, even though that swallowing makes your throat ache in secret. I do not pass that by. You think I only care about the big battles? No. I care about every small cut, whether made carelessly or deliberately. Those tiny cuts are enough to make your heart bleed, and I have been bandaging them one by one with hands that no one sees. When I heal, I do not only heal what is spiritual, I also heal the habits you formed because you were hurt. I heal the way you react whenever someone raises their voice. I heal the fear of abandonment that keeps you from daring to step into new relationships. I heal the suspicion that makes you believe you are not worthy. These are not just emotions, they are marks left by the days you had to protect yourself all alone. And now I say, you no longer need to defend yourself, because I am here. My breath is covering your mind, causing those fears to fade like mist on a morning window. You will begin to feel a lightness rise within you that you cannot explain. That is me. That is how I touch the hidden corners you concealed so deeply you thought even I could not reach them. And as I lift you into a new season, I do not lift you with noise. I lift you through very real changes in very small things. One morning you will wake up and notice that your heart is simply at peace for no particular reason. One day you will walk past the people who once wounded you and realize there is no longer a weight in your chest. One afternoon, as sunlight falls through the window onto a single spot on your table, you will feel the beauty of life in a way you thought your heart had lost forever. I do not heal you only so that you will be strong. I heal you so that you will be beautiful. Not a beauty on the outside, but the beauty of a heart that has softened again after years of hardening itself in self-defense. There will also be moments when I let you look back on what has passed, not to reopen wounds, but so that you can see how far you have come. You will remember an old argument and find yourself smiling, because it no longer has any power over you. You will recall a broken relationship and feel grateful that it can no longer cling to you. You will remember a season of loneliness only to realize that you are no longer lonely inside yourself. When true healing takes root, the past does not disappear. It simply loses its ability to make you tremble. I do not lead you around the pain. I lead you through it, so that when you step out, you are no longer the same person who stepped in. There is one thing I want you to know. I have been present in every detail you thought was too small to mention. I know the moment you sat in front of the mirror and asked yourself, "Why don't they believe me?" I know the moment you unlocked your phone, waited for an apology, then quietly turned off the screen. I know the moment you sent a message from an honest heart and received only indifference, making that night feel longer than any other. I know the moment you stood in the kitchen, trying to cook a good meal just to feel you still had control over something, only for your tears to fall onto the hot stovetop. I was there. I also know the moment you wanted to give up on everything, but just because you remembered one word I had spoken, you decided to take one more step. That step wrote a new chapter in your story. Never underestimate a small step. One step in the dark taken in faith is worth more than 1,000 steps in the light taken without me. When I vindicate you, I do so by letting truth rise to the surface like an underground spring, long blocked. You do not need to push, force, or demand recognition from anyone. The truth of heaven never needs protection. It only needs to be spoken. And once I speak it, it stands tall like a mountain no one can move. Those who once saw you wrongly will see for themselves. Those who chased after rumors will stop on their own. Those who stayed silent during your pain will finally understand the weight of that silence. None of this happens because you speak, but because my light shines through your life. Light does not need many words, it only needs to shine. And that is enough. As you step into the new season, people will see changes in you that they cannot explain. The things that once frightened you can no longer stir your heart. Words that once kept you awake become nothing more than passing wind. Those who once drained you no longer hold the power to define your days. Not because they have changed, but because I have changed you. I have placed within you a soft strength, a strength that needs no proof, yet cannot be denied. Others may never know how many nights you walked through to arrive here, but I know, and I acknowledge every step. As you enter this realm of light, you will begin to notice new signs in your ordinary days. A simple conversation may bring encouragement you did not expect. A small task may open a path you thought was closed forever. A passing word from a stranger may become the answer to prayers you have carried for years. I step into your life with the gentlest of footsteps. But once I enter, everything in the spiritual room of your soul begins to shift. Not with noise, not with chaos, but with the quietness of a father rearranging things that were once scattered. When I lead you into a new season, I do not only open a door, I also close old doors you lacked the strength to shut. I have seen the times you told yourself you had let go, while your heart secretly held echoes of unlovely seasons. I have seen the words spoken over you that still pierce like a needle touching an unhealed wound. I have seen the places in your soul where you believed yourself strong, when in truth you had simply become accustomed to carrying pain alone. That is why the final stretch of this journey is not only about opening, it is about closing. Not only about adding, but about removing. Not only about lifting, but about changing your breath, your atmosphere, and the way you see yourself. My grace works like a skilled craftsman seated at a large wooden table, gently sanding the edges of an old keepsake box you have compressed for too long. I do not throw the box away. I open it one layer at a time, just as you are reopening memories you once dared only to brush lightly. The creased letters, the midnight words you hid from others, the small items you could not discard, the reminders you once whispered to yourself. I lift them one by one, not to judge, but to wipe away the dust so that light can pass through. The things you once felt ashamed of because they revealed your vulnerability, I do not see them as weakness. I see them as marks of a soul capable of loving, hurting, and being honest with itself. And I heal not by erasing memories, but by changing what those memories mean. There will be days when you realize the meaning has changed before you even notice when it happened. A message that once made your hands tremble will suddenly feel harmless. A judgment that once drew tears will become nothing but an echo without weight. A person who once wounded your heart will become merely a name without power over your soul. What I am doing is like pouring out stale water from an old glass jar, not to break the jar, but to make it clear again. You will feel lighter even without external change, because I am altering the way you carry everything within. I am also changing the way you see the future. Once, the future looked like a long road you had to force yourself to walk. Now it will look like new ground waiting for seeds. Once, the future was a string of unanswered questions. Now it will be a line of light showing you each step without demanding you worry about the 10th. I do not make you run, I make you walk. I do not lead you into a race, I lead you into a journey. And this journey does not require you to be stronger than others. It only requires you to stay still in my hands. There will be days when you simply stand still and still see things move. Days when you make no effort and doors open. Days when you do not need to prove anything. Yet people clearly see your worth, not because you have changed to fit them, but because I have changed the environment around you to fit where I am taking you. When I lift you, I do not lift only you, I lift the environment, the relationships, the context of your life. I shift the wind, the direction, and the systems around you. It may surprise you, but you will understand that these movements were arranged long before you even desired anything. I also see the small worries in your heart, worries about finances, family, work, unfinished dreams. I do not consider any of them small. When you sigh over a bill, I hear it. When you hesitate opening an email for fear of more bad news, I stand behind you. When you lie awake, anxious about the future, I cover you with a blanket of peace no one can remove. I am leading you into a season where these burdens will be resolved gently, naturally, quietly, not through loud miracles, but through a sequence of small, steady, profound acts that will make you smile and whisper, "Father has done this." New people will also enter your life to show you that not everyone resembles those who hurt you. They will come with kindness, not for gain, but because they recognize the value I have engraved on your soul. They will listen with their heart, not their curiosity. They will look at you with respect, not judgment. I send such people to balance the losses you once endured, to prove that goodness still exists and does not wound. Every new encounter will be evidence that I am rewriting your perception of kindness. In this season, I also want you to learn how to receive, not just to give. You have grown accustomed to being the strong one, the support, the one who carries everything. But I want you to understand that true strength is not always carrying. Sometimes strength is letting me lift you. Sometimes strength is letting others love you correctly. Sometimes strength is allowing your shoulders to soften after bearing too much for too long. In the coming days, I will give you moments of peace you thought you had lost forever. But you will feel them, because I am reopening the well of life pain once sealed. And when I say a new season has begun, it is not as humans say it. My new season does not require tearing everything down. It is the gentle light that changes the meaning of everything it touches. A corner of an old room becomes warmer. A normal morning becomes hopeful. A small laugh becomes precious. A deep breath becomes a sign of release. I am in each of these movements bit by bit, gently and surely. My new season does not arrive with thunder. It arrives with warm light that always conquers the darkness. The day you look back, you will understand I never left you for a single second. When others turned away, I stayed. When they went silent, I spoke to you in the wind. When they made you doubt your worth, I recorded every tear as evidence that you are precious in my eyes. And when you thought you had lost everything, I was clearing the space for what was real. Everything you walked through was never to diminish you. It was to bring you to the place where your strength, your soul, and your light can no longer be denied. Now, like a father placing his hand upon the head of his beloved child, I declare this: the heavy season is over. The season of vindication has come. The season of healing flows like a stream across dry stone. The season of glory rises like dawn on a mountaintop. I bring you into another season, not one of fear, but of peace, not of striving, but of receiving, not of hiding, but of standing tall, not of surviving, but of living strong. You have stepped into the new season of your life, the season of vindication, the season of healing, the season of rising, my chosen one. In the breath of this new season, I am leading you into a deeper journey, one where every cell of your soul can finally rest after the many years you had to brace yourself just to survive. You have become so used to reading every glance, analyzing every word, trying to guess who is genuine with you and who is hiding something. I have seen how that vigilance has turned into an armor you wear even when the war is over. And so, in this season, I will help you remove each layer of that armor, not to make you weaker, but to let you breathe in your own rhythm again. That vigilance once protected you, but now it only exhausts you. I did not create you to live on the defensive. I created you to live in peace. And true peace needs no walls, no armor, only the certainty that your Father is near. Where you are about to step is not a land of sudden attacks. It is a land of restoration. I will ease the way your heart jumps when your phone vibrates. I will lessen the tightness in your chest when someone calls your name. I will free you from feeling like every conversation is a test you must pass. You will begin to feel as if you have moved out of an old neighborhood, one filled with tension, and into a place with soft wind, warm light, and windows that open each morning. This change will not happen in a single moment. It will seep into your life like a gentle stream carving through stone, soft yet steady. I will do this in mornings, in afternoons, in small, unnoticed moments. Remember those meals you swallowed with a lump in your throat, not because of the food, but because of the weight in your mind. I was present in every moment you tried to smile so others wouldn't worry, even when your soul felt like it was collapsing inside. Now I will give you meals flavored with peace instead of anxiety. You will find yourself eating more slowly, breathing more deeply, savoring each bite as if your body is speaking to your soul. You are safe now. Those mornings you once dreaded will become mornings filled with ease. My renewal will weave itself quietly into these small places. I know the nights when you sat before the computer, mind empty, not because you lacked ideas, but because exhaustion pulsed through you from within. I saw the evenings you closed your laptop early, lay down, and wondered whether life would ever feel light again. I answered those questions not with theory, but with my presence. In this season, the empty spaces in your mind will no longer come from burnout. They will come from room being made for creativity to return. You will feel as though the stream inside you, once blocked, begins to trickle again, then flow, then run clear. The old exhaustion will fall away like dust. This will also be a season where I arrange small but beautiful things to restore your heart. Maybe it will be a sudden breeze brushing your face as you step outside, making you feel as though something inside you was gently lifted. Maybe it will be a song you hear by accident that reminds you of the good parts of yourself you forgot. Maybe it will be the scent of the sky after a soft rain, soothing you like water. I will use everything around you to tell you that the world is still filled with beauty, even if your heart once felt too wounded to believe it. And I am also doing a deeper work within you, restoring the capacity to love and trust that pain once stole. Not naive love, but wise love. Not reckless openness, but an openness that knows I am guarding the inner place you offer. There was a time you told yourself you no longer wanted deep relationships because closeness meant vulnerability to pain. But I am healing that belief. I will show you that when I stand in the center of a relationship, not everyone has the right to wound you. There will be people I send with clean hands and wide hearts, not to take, but to add. In this season, old dreams you thought you had lost will return, but in a more mature form. Things you once pursued with confusion, you will now pursue with peace. Projects that once made you anxious will open like sliding doors. The things you thought would require your whole lifetime to achieve will come naturally, as though heaven itself nudged them forward. I am rewriting the rhythm of your life, teaching you that the important things are not forced, they are allowed to flow. I also want you to know that I will deal with those who once wounded you in a way that removes their shadow from your life entirely. In this season, they no longer have the authority to define your worth, your future, or your identity. They will be placed into my process of correction, a process that is not quick, not loud, but sure. I will help them see what they did, not to drown them in guilt, but to turn them into better people. Even though their path will no longer intersect with yours, I will not let your soul remain tied to them. I will cut the cords that caused your pain, but without leaving scars, only lightness. As I lead you into this new season, you will rediscover a way of loving life that you thought you had forgotten. Evening walks will feel poetic again. Nights under soft lamplight will feel warm again. Sitting still will feel meaningful again. I will return you to yourself, a version untouched by pain, defined only by light. You will be surprised at how joy returns through the smallest things: a cold glass of water, a clean shirt, an unhurried morning, a sincere compliment, a moment of quiet in the middle of the day. I will use these things to mend what once tore. You will also notice yourself becoming softer, not soft to be used, but soft with strength, soft like water that carries life, soft like fertile soil ready for seed, soft like someone who knows they have a father and no longer needs to defend themselves against everything. This softness will help you see others with more compassion and yourself with more tenderness. May the Word of God remind you daily to live in His faith and His love. Click follow and turn on notifications so you don't miss any divine and meaningful messages the Lord desires to speak to you. May God bless you. Amen.